Walk-on Indians, a big win last Friday night as they went down to the Rock Bowl in Dubuque and defeated Dubuque Wahlert by a 28-6 margin, recapping it with head coach Chad Beermann. And Coach Wahlert came into that game averaging 40 points a game. You guys held them to 6. How'd you do it?
Well, it was a combination of offense, defense, and special teams. I mean, they've got some good athletes. So one of the big things was if when we kicked off, make sure we didn't give them a ball they could return very well, and we did not end up having to punt for the game, so that was a big part of it. The offense being able to drive the ball, and we had our first possession of the game was over 7.5 minutes. They only ran 41 offensive plays for the game. So being able to play defense with our offense was a big part of it. And then just keeping them contained, not giving them the big runs. I think they had somewhere around 30 yards rushing or just a little over. And not too many passes. They had one drive. We were up 14-0 at half. They had one drive early in the second half to get their 6 points, blocked the extra point, which kind of sucked a little of the momentum out of it. And then we took the ball right down and scored and got a stop at midfield early in the fourth and scored again. And then we were able to drive out most of the fourth quarter after getting that stop and, down around between the 25, 30-yard line or so, take a knee and kill the last 2 minutes of the ball game. So
looking at the stat sheet from your team offensively, I look at that stat sheet and see just pretty much a workman-like performance. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, like I said, they ran a good job, or their defense was not going to give us anything long. They took away a lot of the deep plays, which is fine. We're okay with, like I said, taking time off the clock as long as we get down there and score and playing again defense with our offense, and that was a big part of it. And yeah, there wasn't anything spectacular, but we converted some. We had a first down and 30, and we managed to convert that, and we converted a couple fourth and longs, and we went for it on fourth and 8 at about our own, 35, 40-yard line, where it was just a fake punt situation where if we saw it, we took it, and it was there. So Noah took it for a first down there. So playing keep away and then playing good enough defense, and like I said, the special teams, we didn't have to punt, so that helped.
And you guys obviously started the season 0-3, but have won 3 straight games against 3 opponents in district play. The results are what they are. Since that, or since the start of district play, what's been the biggest turnaround in how you guys have played?
It's really the offensive and defensive lines. That was something we've been waiting early in the season. We just weren't quite on the same page. But we've improved each week. We've done a better job. Like I said, Noah's passing stats have increased or improved because he's got time to sit back there and find receivers. We were able to drive the ball consistently because the offensive line made holes and stayed on their blocks and got maybe a second or sometimes a third block to spring a runner. Jacob Reagan had a 45-yard run on a jet sweep, and basically he tucked in behind. With 3 lead blockers out in front of him, and he tucked in kind of behind there, and then they popped open and out the gate he went. And blockers on, and not just offensive line, but we got backs that are blocking too, and we're doing a better job stock blocking out in space. So that's all a big part of why our offense has played better. And then, like I said, the defensive line's gotten better up front, and if you can control the line of scrimmage, you're going to have success against most teams.
You walked into my next point, that mentality that your offensive line and defensive line has to bring also goes to the skill of folks on offense as well. If you don't get the ball, the willingness to free up your teammate, how big of a deal is that among these skill guys willing to block like that?
Well, yeah, you can't really, if you're not going to stalk block out in space, it's kind of hard to expect other people to. And we talk about playing as a team, staying together as a team, and that big part of that is being willing to block for a teammate as well as to carry the ball. That's come a long way. In some of our earlier games, it was not very good, and it showed in the results. So if you want to win, you have to do those things.
And this week you got Jessup coming to town. What do you expect out of the Jayhawks?
Well, I mean, they've got an outstanding passing offense. You know, they went up and down the field on NFV and kept it close, at least through the second quarter. NFV was able to pull away from them. They moved the ball on most teams they've played. I mean, they are one of the smaller teams in 2A, and so they pay for that as far as, you know, depth. But I mean, they've got, like I said, the quarterback, I think he's leading the district in total yardage right now, and they've really done a good job with throwing the ball around and finding, you know, they got one kid in particular that leads them and finding different ways to get him the ball out of the backfield and move him around in the receiver spots. So we'll have to be alert on defense to where he's at, and some of the other looks they give. They're spread most of the time. They go for it on fourth down, which, you know, you give NFV if the ball at the 30-yard line, sometimes that doesn't pan out. But, you know, they're going to take their shot and see what they got. And last year they gave us fits, so I guess we'll be ready this year.
All right, Coach. Hopefully, you can keep the winning ways going. You've qualified for the playoffs once again, and now it's just time to keep climbing that ladder. We wish you best of luck. Keep your guys healthy, and thanks for the time as always.
Thank you.
Chad Beermann, head coach of the Walk-On Indians.